Good afternoon, guys. Lexus Driver here. I hope everybody is having a great All Saints Day because today is All Saints Day. Tomorrow will be All Souls Day. Um, I like to start off by discussing a scene of the bad guys. I'm pretty sure for those who haven't watched it, I strongly recommend you shouldn't watch this video because I might there might be there might be some spoilers here. Um, uh, this is the video here. I muted the speaker so that way I won't get a copyright claim. I will get a copyright claim if there was sound in it, but if it just shows just a video but with no sound, then I won't get a copyright claim. This scene, I'll let you play it while I discuss it. This scene right here, I was actually shocked about this scene because Mr. Wolf and his friends, Mr. Shark, Mr. Piranha, Mr. Tarantula, and Mr. Snake, they all put their they all put their arms ready to be handcuffed. I was actually shocked about this scene uh, because in crime. In crime scenes, like in crime films, like there's like heists and robbery and whatnot. Um, I find a scene like this is extremely rare. I mean, normally the main antagonist would be defeated by being arrested by the police, but a scene like this, in my opinion, is extremely rare because sure, the protagonist can prove their innocence and whatnot, and they'd be exonerated. But in this scene, Mr. Wolf and his friends decide to turn themselves in, and and yeah. So my mind was going through a lot in this scene. My 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 guess is like Mr. Wolf and his friends felt like they've accomplished their objective, that they turned themselves in and can serve the prison sentence in peace. Um, in the epilogue of this film, they only just served 1 year in a federal penitentiary. Um, so I guess the reason why it was reduced to 1 year in a federal penitentiary is because um, there are I might there are like how should I say this? There are many ways a defendant can get a light sentence in prison. Number one is if they're put on trial, they plead guilty because um, when a defendant pleads guilty, it leads to a lenient sentence because when a defendant pleads guilty, um, that means that the defendant admits that they committed the crime and they regretted it, and sure, they would serve their sentence, but they would get a light sentence, probably like a few years in prison. um, yeah, so that's one way for Mr. Wolf and his friends to receive a to receive a light sentence in a federal penitentiary. In this case, 1 year in a federal penitentiary. One, if they're put on trial, they plead guilty. Number two, since Professor Marmalade is arrested for the crime, like like his false and real crimes, um, and also framing Mr. Wolf and his friends. Um, Mr. Wolf and his friends would testify against Professor Marmalade. So, um, I think if Mr. Wolf and his friends testify against Professor Marmalade in court, I guess that they would testify as witnesses. Like they would talk about what they've been going through with Professor Marmalade. What was he really doing? Um, yeah. So this scene, like I said, it shocked me the first time because a scene like this is extremely rare, especially in crime films. I haven't watched too much crime films. I like law enforcement, action, and whatnot. But for crime films, like this scene is really like it shocked me. Like an extremely rare scene that really shocked me. And my thoughts in my head was like, um, I guess Mr. Wolf and his friends accomplished their objective. So their objective was to steal the meteorite back. They break into Professor Marmalade's mansion, steal the meteorite, and then take it to the police station to clear their names. But Mr. Snake, my best bet is that Mr. Snake he wanted to pull off the plan. Wanted to pull off the frame up, or I would say expose Professor Marmalade's real crime as payback for what Professor Marmalade did to Mr. Wolf and his friends. So Mr. Snake, um, he he's throughout the climax, Mr. Snake, he was really just being Mr. Wolf and his friends man on the inside, because um, I would say that Mr. Snake, even though he's a grumpy guy, and even though his he talks like he doesn't have any friends and whatnot, but it's pretty obvious Mr. Snake is really a good guy after all. It's just that he comes up with a plan, he keeps it a secret till the end. So in this scene, they're ready to be handcuffed, and Chief Luggins was really surprised that Mr. Wolf and his friends are gonna turn themselves in. But Mr. Wolf proves that they didn't steal the meteorite, which is true, because Professor Marmalade, he actually stole the meteorite and framed Mr. Wolf and his friends. Like if seeing Professor Marmalade feigning like he's being attacked by Mr. Wolf, like at that scene, I've seen a lot of scenes where the main antagonist plays innocent, that the protagonist is gonna harm the main antagonist. That scene. To be honest, if I ever see that scene all the time, I feel like I want to rip the main antagonist apart, literally, because uh, I uh, I know who the main antagonist really is. Not caring for anybody but himself. He's a real narcissist, and feigning innocence that he's being attacked by Professor Marmalade. Like that scene, I would really want to rip Professor Marmalade apart. So in this part, Diane, she's really glad that Mr. Wolf and his friends turned themselves in, because Mr. Wolf proves that he and his friends didn't steal the meteorite, but this shows that Mr. Wolf is done robbing people, and he's done committing crimes. But even though he's done committing crimes, he still has to go to a federal penitentiary. So I guess Mr. Wolf, that's something he decides to face with dignity, turning himself in and serve his prison sentence in peace. So, because now that Mr. Wolf and his friends felt like they've accomplished their objective, he and his friends can go to prison in peace. So basically, an extremely rare scene from crime films is when the protagonist turns themselves in, and they can serve their prison sentence in peace. But I think depending on the severity of the crime, stealing is a felony, and a felony is a very serious crime. They would serve probably they would uh, the they would serve 5 to 10 years in prison. Not like decades in prison, because for someone to serve decades in prison, 25 years or 50 years, um, that's only for very serious crimes, because various serious crimes like I would say drug smuggling. Um, what's another? Any serious crime. Even robbery, stealing and whatnot, like larceny. I think larceny will if the defendant pleads guilty, they would get a light sentence. Um, so in the Mr. Wolf and his friends, they just served 1 year in a federal penitentiary. So I guess their sentence was reduced to 1 year because it's for good behavior. Because Mr. Wolf and his friends turned themselves in uh, willingly, like they just surrendered themselves to the authorities. Because according to a news article I read, I think it's a news article, or maybe it's from, yeah, probably a news article from years ago. I read that there were two girls that were on a motorbike. The driver of the car like swerved. I wouldn't say swerved, like drifted away from the road and accidentally hit the motorcycle. The two girls were pronounced dead at the scene, but the driver, she fled the scene, but surrendered herself to the authorities. Like she drove to a police station and surrenders there. So um, for someone who truly wants to change, like a former criminal, or former a former convict, like as to show that he wants to change, and he's done robbing, stealing, and committing crimes a lot. Um, the one thing that's very hard to the one thing that's very hard to do is to turn themselves in. But if they have good dignity, like knowing that they want to truly change, best thing they should do is to turn themselves in, because turning themselves in, um, it would make it easy for them. And if they face trial and they plead guilty, then they would get a light sentence in a federal penitentiary. So yeah, Chief Luggins, she really didn't expect Mr. Wolf and his friends to turn themselves in, because throughout the film, like uh, Chief Luggins wanted to throw the bad guys in prison. But this scene, like she's really surprised that Mr. Wolf and his friends willingly turned themselves in. Eh, well, Chief Luggins, I would say in that kind of case, you get what you get. And handcuffs like this. Uh, I think there are three kinds of handcuffs, but I would say this is the most common handcuffs for law enforcement. Um, Chief Luggins, she held the handcuffs open, but yeah, see, Mr. Wolf, he puts the handcuffs like as you just saw. But normally, handcuffs like that, they would be in the closed position. And for handcuffing a suspect, what uh, what they would do is they would hold the handcuff in the closed position and then place it on the wrist. Like they would place it on the wrist and then push it down and then lock it into place, and then they put the and then for the other, they repeat the same. So if Chief Luggins held the handcuffs in the closed position, because Chief Luggins, she had them in the open position, but if they were in the closed position, Mr. Wolf, he would just put the handcuffs like push it down, and then the cuff would loop and then wrap around his arm. So just like that, in the closed position. So Chief Luggins, Chief Luggins decided to deliver a speech regarding. Chief Luggins decided to deliver a speech regarding her capture of the bad guys. But even though she captured the bad guys, it wasn't what she expects, because she's like a really hothead, like, wanting the bad guys arrested, but at the same time as Chief Luggins, she is a police chief. If uh, I know that this film takes place in Los Angeles, in California, but if this film takes place in New York, Luggins wouldn't be a police chief. You know who would be the you know who would she be if this was in New York? She'd be the police commissioner, because since New York is the largest city in the United States, there are five boroughs, like, Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, the Bronx. Um, Luggins wouldn't be the police chief; she'd be the police commissioner. Because I learned that in the New York City Police Department, the NYPD, the police chief handles each borough of New York. Like, one police chief will handle Staten Island, another police chief will handle Brooklyn, another police chief will handle Queens, etc., etc. One police chief would handle Manhattan, and a police chief would handle the Bronx. So Luggins, she wouldn't be the if this film was set in New York City, she'd be the police commissioner, not the police chief. And um, I'm no expert, but I think they only do this for the sake of um, I think they only do this for the sake of pure fictional, because the police chief rarely, I wouldn't say rarely, but anyone in the comments below can tell me. The police chief rarely goes out in the field. I mean, like, I think um, the time where the police chief would go out in the field would be like in the event of um, a major catastrophe, like an earthquake, tsunami, terrorist attacks. Um, the police chief would definitely be at the scene. But like I said, if this film was set in New York, she's the police commissioner. So Mr. Wolf, like, he's glad. I would say he's glad he turned himself in. And to be honest, I would say I like this scene as well as everybody. Like, I know that everybody loves this scene. I love this scene. Mr. Wolf turns himself in, and they would just serve 1 year in a federal penitentiary. Yeah. So we see two cops. We see two cops, like, escorting them to a transport vehicle, but the transport vehicle they're gonna be in, it's not gonna be the van that takes them to prison. They would take them to a prowl car, or a prowler unit, as what the police would say. Prowler unit is like the police term for a police car. So yeah, and we only see Mr. Wolf cuffing himself. So I would say I would say that it's possible Mr. Wolf's friends cuffed themselves as well. But for Mr. Snake, I think if he actually cuffed himself, I think he pickpocketed one of the cops with the handcuffs, and then like, how should I say this? And then cuffs himself. And everyone was confused why the meteorite was a lamp, but Mr. Snake chuckling shows that Yeah, he revealed his secret plan till the end. Because as I stated, like what Mr. Snake plan is, he comes up with a plan, he keeps it a secret till the end. And as a result, for his secret plan revealed, the meteorite explodes and Professor Marmalade's mansion is destroyed. So this is like really a satisfying moment for a very scummy character like Professor Marmalade. So having him not only lose the meteorite but also lose everything, uh, that's like really one of the most satisfying moments in a crime film. Sorry, Marmalade. Nothing personal, just business. So Mr. Wolf and his friends, they all head inside the police car, and and they can serve their prison sentence in peace. Oh, uh, I think there might be a lag here, so just forgive me. Um, So I find the priceless look on Professor Marmalade's face, the chief and the news correspondent. Like they were all well. I'm not gonna count Professor Marmalade, but the I can guess that Chief Luggins, the news correspondent, and the cops were like, how the hell did how the hell did Mr. Snake pull off those heists? Now I wouldn't say heists, like pull off that switch that plan. So we as the audience already know, but for them they don't know. So they all get inside the prowl car, and I would assume that Mr. Wolf, he closed the door by himself. I'm pretty sure because we didn't see a cop outside closing the door, so I can assume this part. Mr. Wolf closed the door by himself. He salutes goodbye and gives a smug look on Professor Marmalade. So yeah. um, so judging by the looks on their face, like I said, it felt like they've accomplished their objective. So one more thing I'd like to say before I end off on this video. This part is actually even more satisfying. The part where we see the golden dolphin. It's unknown what happened to the golden dolphin at the end of the film, but yeah, we see the golden dolphin. It's unknown what happened to the golden dolphin. Like me personally, I don't know. I don't know who has the golden dolphin. Like I question myself, who has the golden dolphin now? Because at the end of the film, we see the golden dolphin for the final time. It's unknown what happened to the golden dolphin. Like I always question myself, who has the golden dolphin now? But another satisfying scene is the diamond Diane Foxington stole when she was the Crimson Paw was in Professor Marmalade's pocket, and he was framed as the Crimson Paw. Like this scene is actually very satisfying. Even though Professor Marmalade wasn't the Crimson Paw, he definitely deserved that. Yeah. So even though he wasn't the Crimson Paw, he totally deserved that. Like, that scene is like that scene is like very satisfying to see. Like we as the audience seeing that part was like, that's for framing Mr. Wolf and his friends attempting to kill Mr. Wolf and his girlfriend Diane. Um, and also attempting to kill Mr. Wolf's best friend, Mr. Snake. Like Professor Marmalade, uh, what uh, um, what makes me disgust him even more? He made three attempts on Professor. He made three attempts on Mr. Wolf's life. The first one was when he attempted to um, well, I think maybe two, maybe three. I might have lost count. The first one was when he attempted to kill Mr. Wolf and his girlfriend by dropping him into a giant garbage disposal. The second one is I think I would say Professor Marmalade made two attempts on Mr. Wolf's life. So the first one was trying to kill Mr. Wolf and Diane by dropping them into a giant garbage disposal. And the second attempt on his life was using the mind control guinea pigs to crush Mr. Wolf and his friends. So, yeah, I would say Professor Marmalade definitely deserved that. And if he's gonna face trial, I would say he's gonna be charged with fraud, conspiracy, animal cruelty, the frame up. Let's see, and also attempted murder. The attempted murder of Mr. Wolf and his friends, and the attempted murder of Mr. Snake, because that many crimes would carry a very hefty penalty. So I'm gonna say that Professor Marmalade, he's not gonna be spending 25 years or 50 years to life in prison. I'd say he's gonna be spending the rest of his life rotting in a federal penitentiary. So yeah, Professor Marmalade definitely deserved that. He definitely deserved that. But I can guarantee that in the sequel, Professor Marmalade will escape prison, and he's gonna plot his revenge against Mr. Wolf and his friends. I think if he's gonna be plotting his revenge against Mr. Wolf and his friends, my best bet would be like if Professor Marmalade's revealed to be an alien. I'd say his final defeat was when Mr. Wolf and his friends defeat him, and I would say that Professor Marmalade might suffer from doom, like he'd be leading to his doom, and yeah, so his doom would be like he'd would be his uh, I would say death, but I don't want to say it too much. So yeah, Professor Marmalade definitely deserved that, and if he's revealed to be an alien, Mr. Wolf and his friends will fight the alien and fight the alien to the death. Um, Professor Marmalade, I would say he would return, and I think he'd die in the sequel, and I would assume that for Cuddles he left the life of crime behind because we see that he slipped away, and because I would assume he found out who his boss really is. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit that like button so that way I can make more content like this. Till then, see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.